Hello, and welcome to Transurf and Chill on TransurfingTV. This is the show where I'm going to be interviewing Renee Garcia about literally every single concept in reality transurfing and breaking it all down for you. Really excited to be bringing the show to you all, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the queen of transurfing, Renee Garcia. Hey Renee, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Owen. Thanks so much. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's awesome to be speaking with you about this. I'm really excited about getting into these topics a little bit, more deeply, but also we're kind of giving an overview so these lazy folks don't have to read a book, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, first off, I want to start off by saying, just like us planning to do this talk, it's amazing how excited I get at the prospect of talking about transurfing. You know, it's so weird. It's like I was thinking in my head today about, what I wanted to discuss here with the space of variations. And like, as I'm going over the points in my mind and I'm like thinking about, this concept as Vadim lays it out, I'm like super excited. It's so strange, it's really just something that, and I've been talking about it nonstop for the last 5 years. And it's like, I literally never get tired of talking about it. It's unbelievable.
It's so cool. I do too. And, since we've started collaborating, it's just gotten better and better because you get to talk to so many more people about these concepts and everybody has really cool insights into them, and it just deepens the understanding, which is just going to make everything get better and better and better.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, it never ceases to just floor me that I've truly found something that feels bottomless. It feels like my life just continues to get better and better and better. I start to understand the concepts on a much deeper level. I was telling somebody the other day that just started reading the book. I'm like, this is going to excite you, because she was really, really excited. Only 2 weeks in, super excited. I said, listen, this is going to come as a surprise, but like 5 years in, I talk about this stuff. I think about a concept. I view my reality through the transurfing filter, and I get like energized. I get excited. It's just, it continues to feed me. And I have such passion for this knowledge. It's all the time. It never stops. I absolutely love it. So I'm glad we're starting here with the space of variations, because I feel like, I've referred the book to a lot of people in the last 5 years. I've stopped doing it so much. I don't really refer it to anybody anymore. I just, let them reach out to me, because either you're ready and you somehow connect with the concept before you read it. Maybe you hear a little something, or maybe just see me and how I'm living my life, and be curious, like, oh, what's this thing that you're about, and then I like to offer it, but before, when I used to recommend the book to people, I feel like the space of variations was a chapter. It was almost like a gateway. It's either where people fell in love with the knowledge, or it's where they got intimidated and they shied away from the book and they wouldn't read it. And I've had that happen to a few friends or a few family members that were like, well, I didn't really understand the space of variations very much. It's kind of weird. And, it sounded really technical and sciencey. And, I actually sort of thought the same way when I originally read the book and was listening to the audio. I kind of thought that the space of variations was sort of, like one of the least interesting topics to me. But over the last 5 years, it's actually changed to the opposite. Like, now it is the most, this is the topic that continues to unfold for me. And what it is really that continues to sort of unfold is this concept that there are infinite variations around us all the time of every possible scenario you could think of, and your thought quality or what you're thinking about, or the parameters of your thinking, is actually what moves you around from track to track. And when you really can gain a very, very solid sense of this, like, I can transfer over to tracks really, really easy now and create a whole new reality for myself in a matter of like days or weeks. I mean, it's really amazing. I am transurfing around to other tracks because I understand this knowledge. So, what I'm attempting to do at this point is to, allow, I want to offer this information in a more in a more concise way to everybody interested. So, if you're listening out there, you can absolutely do this for yourself. Like, it is super easy as long as you understand what you're working with, meaning your thought quality or the parameters of your thinking, the space of variations, and what you need to do exactly. But once you get it down, it's like it's a miracle. I mean, you can change and shift and make different choices and connect with different tracks and change, as Vadim Zeland says, the set and decorations. The set and decorations can change like that for me, and it's getting easier and easier. So I just want everybody to know out there, like, this is real. This is real stuff, and you can learn how to do this. It's easy once you get it, and that's what I want to talk about today, is how easy it actually is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of media out there right now that's reflecting a lot of his theories. I watched the OA not too long ago, and I've seen several things, even Adult Swim, Rick and Morty. Like, these ideas are kind of pervasive, and I think that they speak to a lot of people, and people kind of pick up on it and jive with it sort of subconsciously. And also, I'll say, I can relate to when I first got the book. I was so excited, and the book just spoke directly to me, it seemed like, but I was also intimidated at the same time, because I was like, oh shit, here we go. Like, I know I'm going to have to make some adjustments myself, but I think it's really going to be helpful for you to, and I to have this conversation and break this down, how people can navigate through the space of variations and exactly what it is. We want to maybe start with just talking about what the space of variations is.
Yeah. So, one of the practices that I give the people either taking lessons with me or getting certified, what I instruct the future trainers to do, is to have. So I think the reason why this can feel like an overwhelming concept is because obviously everything that has or is or will be, that's a big, thinking about everything outside of us, right? All the matter that the world consists of, or the universe, the infinite universe, all the possibilities, all the parameters of the space of variations. It can become a very like overwhelming thought, like, oh wow, this, it's so vast. It's like it eludes people, right? So what I tell people to do is this. I say, try to think of a visual representation. It can be anything you want. And I gave a seminar with Dr. Salah El-Rashad last year, and I had this as one of our practices. I gave everybody 20 minutes to sit down and write about or draw a visual representation in their mind of what the space of variations was. And I have to say, like, I almost started crying when people started offering their ideas. So there were people saying that, like, they were in a spaceship and they could fly around, space and land on different planets, and each planet that they landed on would be a different set of would be a variation of reality for them. Some people would say things like, a tree bearing really beautiful fruit, and you just have to reach up and grab and choose what what piece of fruit you want to pick off. Or like mine is, Vadim Zeland's idea in the book that I'm sitting at a restaurant and I'm ordering off of a menu. So, there were lots of them. I mean, there was a few hundred people in the course, but there were lots and lots of them. We only had time to read a few, but I really love this practice because it brings the concept a little bit closer to the individual. It's almost like, people in AA having a higher power, right? It's like something that you can turn to and say, okay, space of variations, let's go. What am I going to choose? Like, present to me my options, and your options may be vague, but you at least have the opportunity then to reach out and grab what it is that you want to choose. So, the space of variations, again, there's so much there. It's hard. When I first did my first seminar with Salah, I had never spoken publicly before, and I got up on stage with, over 300 set of eyes looking at me, and I had to stand there for an hour and a half and talk about the space of variations. And I have to say, it was very intimidating because it's a big concept. But, the space of variations is a good place to start with, how do you choose to see it, right? Are you going to say it's this big, confusing space where you don't know what it is you want, and, there's an infinite number of possibilities, but you don't know how to, you don't know how to see that and work with it, right? Which is, I think, what a lot of people maybe do feel like. Or you can tailor it. You can tailor it down to something that's easy for you to grasp and understand and work with. And, like I tell people, everything outside of you is where all of what you want comes from, right? Your thoughts connect you with that track where whatever you want exists on that track, right? So if you want to just imagine that the space of variations is like a treasure chest, right? And you get to put your hands inside and grab what you want, but, obviously you have to know how to do that a little bit. Wishes don't come true, right? Like Vadim says, wishes don't come true. So, there are a few more steps, but once you understand that, it is easy to look at the space of variations like a treasure chest. It is. I mean, everything that you want is right there. It's just, you have to learn how to access it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so one thing that really helped me when I thought about this was, in traditional self-help, we kind of like have to create our reality, and we have to do this thing to make and manifest and all of that kind of stuff. But whenever I thought about this, it was like, oh, well, on the other side of whatever, this three-dimensional reality, that everything already does exist. And it's like, instead of it like in the Matrix when the kid's like, there is no spoon, that's not technically accurate. It's like there are infinite spoons. And so you get to choose between all of those different variations. And that's, I guess, why it's named, space of variations. But that's really cool. I like the idea. I like the treasure chest visual a lot. And I think it's really neat that people can visualize it however kind of they see it. To me, it looks like these just like lines or veins that sort of splinter off and off and off and off and off, from one another.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool. And I've definitely done meditations and stuff where I've come up with different visuals myself. But the bottom line of it is, it doesn't matter how you visualize it, or how you choose to see it. It's really how you connect with it and understanding your power of choice there. You know, that's the most important part, right? Because no matter how you choose to see it, the bottom line is that you're either putting your hands into a treasure chest, or you're reaching up and grabbing a piece of fruit, or you're flying around to another planet, or whatever the hell concept you decide to, visual you decide to assign to it. The common denominator there is that, you need to choose then, right? That it's up to you to choose. So there's an infinite number of life tracks, destinies, for each person in the space of variations, right? So that's a lot, right? So, but here's the thing. Anybody that is resentful of what they currently have, right? That's the wrong way to, you've like cut yourself off at the knees. You have a lot of other options. You have a lot of other possibilities. An infinite number of destinies that are there that you can tap into. So it really sucks if you happen to connect with one where you're resentful, of what it is that you've chosen. But the cool thing about transurfing is all you have to do is make another choice. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do. So the problem is that, again, most people don't know how to do this, right? It's like, oh, well, that sounds great and all, but how do you actually do that? And again, it's quality of thoughts. It's what you choose to, and Vadim talks about it in the book. And I use this analogy all the time. So you have two people standing on a street corner in New York, let's say Times Square, right? And one person is, hopelessly depressed, right? And hasn't had anything good happen to them, hates life, wishes they weren't alive. Everything that they think is negative. You have that person standing on the street corner. And then let's say you have me standing next to him, right? I see the world as something that is abundant, right? My world's taking care of me. I see magic everywhere I go, right? I see infinite possibilities. I see opportunity, right? So we're both standing on this exact same street corner side by side in Manhattan, Times Square. What the depressed person is seeing is very different than what I'm seeing, because what their thought quality and what their thoughts are is highlighting a different sector of reality. Okay. So, and then the same for me, right? My thought quality, my thoughts specifically, they are highlighting another sector of reality. So everything will look completely different from one person to the next because of this idea, right? That it's your thinking that connects you with whatever it is in the space of variations. And remember, it's infinite, right? And the other thing is too, is that, like Vadim says in the book, there is evidence to support any theory, every theory. The space of variations, there's no right or wrong, right? There is evidence. If you believe the world is bad and you're never going to get anywhere and everybody's going to get everything and you're going to get nothing, the world's absolutely going to agree with you, right? But if you, on the other hand, believe that, the world's full of opportunity and you're going to be a rock star and you're going to connect with all the stuff that you want, it's just down the road a little and you need to just take the right steps towards whatever it is, then you're going to connect with that material, with that material in the space of variation. So like, let's get back to the street corner. The person that's depressed, hopelessly depressed, and doesn't like their life, they're going to see a bunch of shit, right? They're going to see, the homeless guy that's, drunk and almost dying, laying on the sidewalk. They're going to see, dark clouds rolling in. They're going to see, anything that is attuned to their frequency they're going to see that stuff, right? But I've managed to tune my brain in another way, right? Where I see, oh, there's a help wanted sign over there. And oh, look at somebody just dropped $5 on the ground, right? Like my frequency is now tuned to opportunity, finding stuff, finding good stuff, finding good people, finding adventures, finding experiences, right? It's all tuned towards the positive. So in doing that, I am creating my own reality, right? And my reality is agreeing with me because there's evidence to support all theories. So if there's tons of stuff out there for me, and I believe that, and my brain is tuned to that frequency, what happens? I find the stuff, right? When other people aren't, that's the amazing thing. Other people are missing this stuff. I'm like going through my reality, my day-to-day reality, and I'm seeing all sorts of opportunities and things and people that are offering me information that can do something to improve my life. And I'm like, why isn't anybody else connecting with this stuff? And the reason that that's happening, their brain isn't tuned the same way mine is. So, but I've just been practicing this for a little while, but it works. It totally works. So that's sort of my interpretation of the space of variations at this point. But again, whatever it is for you, it is for you.
Yeah, that's really good. I like your interpretation. Is now the space of variations, that's the same as the dream world, correct?
Well, yes. So, if we want to discuss the dream world a little bit now, the dream world is a very small chapter really in the book. And what I tell people that take lessons from me or people that are taking the certification course is that the only real point that you need to touch on when it comes to the chapter about the dream world is that you should approach your reality in the same way that you approach, let's say, the dream world, lucid dreaming. So for those of you that have had a lucid dream, now that's a dream where you're asleep, right? And you're dreaming and you realize when you're in the dream that you're dreaming and you wake up inside the dream and then you have the ability to control the dream, right? You can do whatever you want. And I actually had a really, really, really amazing lucid dream, a couple of years ago where I understood exactly why Vadim speaks of the dream world. And he doesn't speak about it a lot, it's a smaller chapter, but why it's there. And that is because we should approach our waking reality in the same way we would a lucid dream. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is that you can actually do more in waking reality than you can a lucid dream, even though, it seems like a lucid dream, you could do anything. You could fly, you could do whatever. But in waking reality, you can actually, create material, right? You can actually create material because you can't pull material through the dream world, but you can definitely do that in the waking world. And the other point is that he makes is that, at night when we're asleep and we're dreaming, all that's really happening is our soul is flying around the space of variations, untethered. So that's why, our dreams, it's like, oh, well, that was weird. I had this strange dream that there was, somebody from my life, but they were in a different house and we were in a different town and, somebody else was there that I didn't know. And you wake up and you scratch your head and you're like, well, what does that mean? Well, there's no real value in interpreting it. It's just that you actually connected with another possibility, another variation, another track in your dream is a possibility in the space of variation, something that didn't actually materialize, right? And it probably won't. The only thing that I do tell people that is really valuable about the dream world is that I've actually had a lot of ideas come from my dream world. So I've had, things happen that kind of, made a light bulb go off, and I'm like, oh, that's actually a really cool idea. Like, oh, I was speaking on a stage. Oh, maybe I should, think about learning how to speak on a stage, right? So I can get a little bit of a, I can sort of see something and then later translate that to my waking life. But yeah, dream interpretation's kind of, I would say it's not really the best use of your time, probably.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that's really cool. I like to think of it that way too, because it's like, oh, well, the space variations. Well, every night you go to sleep, you're proving that the space of variations exists, because that's where your soul's traveling, because your brain's shut off. It's it's not even in the equation unless you do become awake. And I've had a couple of lucid dreams too. They're amazing, but it's really cool. I like the point a lot that, like, I can't bring material from the dream world into the material world, but I can bring material into existence in the material world. That's a really, really cool point there.
Yes. And it helps everyone. It helps me to understand, that I have power, right? That I have power to actually take from the space of variations, like that, it's not just my imagination or a dream, right? I can actually pull material out of the space of variations into my reality. And the other thing that I want to touch on a little bit is, this is exactly why, I fucking hate the law of attraction.
Oh God.
The law of attraction, in my opinion, is whoever wrote it is an extremely condescending person. And I think that it's confused people. And I think that what it's done is it's actually put material, further away from a good majority of the people that follow that stuff. And I'll tell you why. The law of attraction, first of all, it doesn't really teach you action so much. It's more about like thinking of something like, oh, I wish I had a Lamborghini, or I wish I had $1 million, right? And what happens when you follow, and I don't know a lot about the law of attraction. I mean, I read The Secret when I was younger and that sort of thing, and I had some luck with it, but my luck was, just that. It was luck. It was like, yeah, it was like, maybe I'd get lucky. And I'll tell you one more thought. Remind me to mention the story in the Secret about the feather after I give this breakdown. So, the law of attraction teaches you more about desiring and hoping. And what happens when a person does that is they're energetically, sort of putting whatever it is they're, hoping to have, far away from them, right? Outside of the reach. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe you can reach for it and maybe you can get it, and then the thing is like, if the law of attraction worked, or The Secret worked, right? The Secret's like this little book and they say it's so powerful. But if it was so powerful and it really worked, everybody'd be driving around Lamborghinis and have $1 million, right? Like everybody would just have everything, right? The difference between reality transurfing and the law of attraction is reality transurfing teaches you that all the things you want are not very far from you at all. In fact, in reality, they're right outside your front door, right? My neighbor has got money in his wallet right now. There's a bank right down the street from me with a bunch of money in there. There's a Lamborghini somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that far away from me physically. It's not that far away. I just have to connect with the track where that thing exists, right? And then it's really close, right? It's a lot closer than what the law of attraction offers. You know, the law of attraction is like, well, just kind of throw the dice out there, roll the dice and see if maybe you get something. So getting back to the story that's in The Secret about the feather. So, you know, somebody decided that they wanted to manifest a feather, and then one day they walked out of, like Grand Central Station or something, and they walked out the front doors, and then there was this beautiful feather laying on the ground, and oh my God, I manifested the feather. No, you idiot. The feather was always going to be there, right? The feather was always going to be there. It's that you decided that you wanted to see a feather. That's why you saw it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's why you saw the feather, is because you made a choice that you wanted to see a feather. If you hadn't made that choice to see that feather, you would never even notice it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the reticular activation system is all that is. It's that you notice the thing that you think about. That's just a psychological thing, you know? Exactly.
So this is where The Secret or the law of attraction and reality transurfing divide. Right? Whoever wrote this crap, you know, has people convinced that like, you just have to think of it and it'll appear. No. It's already there. It was already going to be there. Right? So what you want, it's already there. You don't have to manifest it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I hate that word just because it's been thrown around so much, you know?
You know, it's like, no. It's already there. You just have to put yourself on the track where that thing exists, and then you have to take steps, right? And this is where Tufty comes in. Tufty and the space of variations, you know, that's a good place to start if you want to actually start pulling material into your life from the space of variations, right? It's about understanding your power of choice and then acting in the now, right? Like Vadim says, you can't alter the script, right? But you can choose another variation. So if I want something, right? If I want, let's say, a new career, right? I'm not going to like just sit there and hope for this new career and then it's going to like show up. You know, I have to understand, okay, choice, right? This is what I want to see, just like the feather. The thing's already there. I just have to decide that that's what I want to see. And then with Tufty, you know, you start taking the steps. You start, what's the word that Angel always uses? Oh, shoot. I'm drawing a blank here. Angel always says it. I want, compose.
Compose.
You know, compose. So then composing is essentially action, right? That puts you on the track, right? So you decided what you've aligned yourself with the track where the thing that you want exists, and then you have to act. Then you have to take the steps towards the thing. And the amazing thing that I've found out is, you know, it happens. Now, you can't control the time frame, right? The time that here's one thing about the space of variations that took me a little while to understand. The space of variations does not understand the concept of time. You know, time is a human construct of the mind. Like it doesn't exist, right? So if you want to connect with something in the space of variations, you can't say, if you say to yourself, I want to make $10,000 in 1 month, you've just fucked it up, right? Now you can say, I want to make $10,000, right? But if you put a timestamp on that, you just kind of made that thing go a little further from you because you're putting parameters on it that the space of variation simply doesn't understand.
Right.
Doesn't understand your priority to get $10,000, right? Now you can align yourself with the track where that $10,000 exists, and you can, you know, take the steps that you need to take to make the 10,000. And the space of variations will agree with you, but it's not necessarily gonna agree with your time frame. Now you could get lucky, but most likely that's not going to happen.
Yeah, infinite patience makes things happen a lot faster, I think. Ralph said that when I spoke with him, and I was like, wow, that's really good, because you don't put that constriction on that thing or that time frame, and at that point, it's going to work. There's no trying to convince yourself about it. You're just like, okay, well, that's done, and then you allow it to kind of come to you. So as far as the composing and as far as picking and choosing from the space of alternates, what do you have to say about that? What's your approach regarding that technique wise?
So I have this little thing that I call the four keys towards movement forward with choice. Okay, and it goes like this. First thing you got to do is you got to inform yourself of your choices. Okay? So that's learning what's available to you, right? I'm always doing research, always, because I want to know what options I have, right? If somebody goes, oh, I just opened a new business and I'm doing blah, 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 right? I'll go on to Wikipedia or Google and I'll research it and read some stuff and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, right? So boom, I've informed myself of a choice. Mm-hmm. I'm always looking around me to see what other people are doing, how other people are making money, how other people are having fun, what projects other people are getting involved in. Cause I want to make sure that I have as many choices as possible to choose from. Right? So that's the first one, is inform yourself of the choices. Then the second thing is I kind of resonate with those possibilities, right? So this is where, the heart and mind alignment sort of come in, right? Usually when I come across something that's really cool, my heart will just be like, yeah, go, and then my mind's like, yeah, let's run on this, and, that's kind of me resonating with my options. And then my heart will just kind of choose something. So then it goes through that passage first. And then the brain's like, oh yeah, this is a green light. So then it's go, right? So it's inform myself of my choices, then resonate with the possibilities or choices, and then it's make my choice, right? And make my choice is okay, I'm going for this. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm making a lifelong commitment, right? It just means that for right now, I'm just going to run with this and I'm going to see what happens, right? And then, the last step is something that just kind of happens naturally for me now. I mean, once I've informed myself of my choice, I've resonated with the different choices that I have, and I've chosen one, right? Once I've chosen one, if there's something there on that path that I want, I just take calm, non-emotional steps towards whatever that thing is. It's I know this, I don't know, does this sound easy or hard to you?
It sounds counterintuitive, but it sounds easy at the same time. I think that's the difference.
So my brain, I think, functions a lot differently than most people's brain does normally, right? And I think the reason for that is because I have been living transurfing every single day of my life for the past 5 years. So now the way that I see reality, it's almost like a video game. It's like an advanced video game, right? Remember when Grand Theft Auto came out, how cool it was that you're like, whoa, you can jump in a car and drive it around and get out and just start shooting people and go nuts. And then you can go and you can do this and you can do that. Remember how mind blowing that was that you had, because before, remember, Mario Brothers, it was a linear, right? You didn't have an option. You just went forward. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Mm-hmm.
So then Grand Theft Auto came along, and it was like you could 360 turn and go in any direction, and you had an arsenal of weapons, and you could jump on a bike or a car, or, punch some guy in the face or whatever it was. That's what my reality, I think a lot of people sort of see reality, living reality in a linear, you're going in one direction and I'm turning around and seeing like a 360 view. And I have lots and lots of different things and lots of weapons in my arsenal, and I can go nuts.
No, that makes sense. It's like the difference between, the second and the third dimension. It's like the book Flatland, it's written a long, long time ago. Like people live on, like this flat plane, and, they can't understand what's beyond that because they can't see past it. But I think the Mario, you go, that's a great example, between those two things. So first key, inform yourself of the choice, become aware of what's out there, learn what's available. And then you want to resonate with whatever possibility, which is not permanent. You can always, go to another goal, or if you get tired of it, or if you change your mind, and then choose. This is the third key. And then and so if you don't mind just repeating the fourth and just maybe clarifying a little bit.
It's kind of like, then you've made your choice, right? So let's say that I, like my latest endeavor, which I got my first real estate check today, and I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I'll tell you why. When I first got my real estate license 6 weeks ago, I went to a seminar, like a introduction seminar of this is the real estate world. And the guy that stood up and said, okay, all of you look like you're ready to go. And I just want to let you know that, this is a fun business, but it's going to take some time. He said, when I got my real estate license, I didn't close a house for a year. I didn't see my first commission check for a year. And I was like, oh, fuck no, that's not gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm like, I thought this in my head. I was like, I'm going to tufty this. This is going to go a lot quicker. Now, I did not set a time frame. I did not say I'm going to get my first check in a month, right? I didn't set a time frame. I didn't set any parameters. I just followed Tufty, right? I just followed what the book said to a T, right? And 6 weeks later, which, escrows take 30 days to close. So do the math there. I got my first one pretty fast, and I'm in escrow on a bunch of other places. It's happening really fast. But it's like, my reality responds to me quickly because I'm following these concepts. So anyway, yeah, that felt super good. So back to what I was saying, the fourth point is when I decided that I wanted to be a real estate agent in my hometown, right? I want to try this out and see what happens. So then I see some things that I want, right? I want to get escrows. I want to get checks. I want to meet clients, right? So then those are the things on the track that I want. All I got to do is take the steps in the direction to get that stuff, right? I have to make I've made the choice to do it, right? Now I got to make the choice to just put one foot in front of the other and actually do the things that, and this is the trick about doing something like that. All you got to do is mimic somebody else that's doing it, that's getting the stuff you want. It's all you got to do. But if you can keep your thoughts aligned correctly with the objective, right? So, there's evidence to support all theory, and your quality of thoughts is going to highlight a different sector of reality. I just keep my thoughts highlighting that sector of reality where I get exactly what it is I'm looking for. And I just got to put one foot in front of the other. And I don't even have to take that many steps. It just sort of happens. So yeah, it's about stepping towards what you desire or what it is that you intend to have, right? It's just about taking those steps. And I think a lot of times, and, you know, I had this problem too when I was younger. I just didn't know how to put one foot in front of the other, or I cared too much about what people thought of me, you know, or maybe like Vadim says in the book, like, oh, that stuff's for other people, right? Or
I don't deserve it. You're not allowing yourself to have at that point.
Exactly. Reality is much more agreeable than what is commonly believed, right? The space of variations is much more agreeable. I've done things that most people, you know, wouldn't ever, you know, when I had my sailboat in Marina del Rey, 42-foot sailboat, I learned to sail that thing single-handedly, right? And nothing was automatic. So I taught myself to take that out into the Santa Monica Bay and cast sails and sail that boat completely single-handedly on my own, when most people would say that a 42-foot boat needs 3 adults to sail it. I learned to sail it on my own. And people say, how did you do that? And the funny thing now is that I understand you know, transurfing in such a deep way. It's like, I understand now that all I did was allow myself to do it and not think, oh, this needs 3 adults to do this, right? I just did it. Whereas most people think, oh no, that needs 3 adults to do that, so you can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah.
So I broke down, all I did was I broke down the common belief, right? And that's the same with connecting with material in your reality, right? There's a common belief that whatever it is, right? Don't adhere to the common beliefs. Try things on your own. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody go try to sail a 42-foot boat on their own. You know, it was challenging, and I was scared shitless actually while I was doing
Fair enough.
You know, but that's what I've consistently done since finding transurfing. Even before that, I was pretty out there, right? I understood the value of not adhering to common belief. But yeah, that stuff's out there for the taking. There is stuff out there for the taking. You just have to not adhere to common belief that it's not for you. Right? And do what you need to do, right? Keep your thoughts in line with the thing. Read Tufte. You know, Tufte is an amazing book and mind-blowing, you know? Listen to Tufte audio on TransurfingTV. I mean, that'll teach you what's up pretty fast. I mean, don't you think?
I sure do. Yes. That book is amazing. I keep listening to it even though it's my voice, which I hate. You know what I mean? It's like I can't stop, you know. It's amazing. Just the advantage principle alone. And that's something to keep in mind for that fourth point is when things don't go like you think they should, then just remember that that's actually the space of variations working to get you your goal even faster. That's actually an advantage for you.
Oh yeah. And that you want to talk about counterintuitive. Yeah. You know, I mean, talk about jump ship, right? Most people first sign of danger. And that's the other thing that I think hinders people a lot from getting what they want. You know, if you follow my little formula, right? Inform yourself of your choices and then resonate with your possibilities and then make your choice and then step towards what it is that you desire to have or you intend to have. Most people are like, cool, I'll inform myself of my choices. Yeah, I can do that. And then resonate with the possibilities. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's easy. You know, I can do that. And then, okay, I've made my choice. And then, okay, I can step towards the thing. And then all of a sudden somebody comes in front of you and goes, oh, wait a second. You can't do that. You don't have this trait or that trait or that's for somebody else or blah, blah, blah. And then most people go, well, that's enough of that. That failed. Right? Like most people are actually pretty quick to, you know, just choose another route or give up on the route altogether when they see any sign of trouble on the track. But, you know, trouble on the track oftentimes is just, like you said, it's diverting you to an easier route.
Yeah, or giving you like a lesson that you're going to need later, or it's for your advantage somehow. And like she says in the book, it's like one way or the other, this is to your advantage. If you don't wake up right now and realize that this is for your advantage, you will look back and see how it was to your advantage.
Totally. And my God, has that happened to me now? You know, like looking back on my life, I mean, talk about just like a tragic comedy, you know? Like, and at the time I'm devastated and I'm like, you know, I'm like, oh my God, what have I done to deserve this? Oh my God, I was born poor white trash, and you know, and oh, you know, and now I look back and it's like, I really am just cracking up now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how can I not laugh? You know, it's amazing. And looking back at my past self, distraught and devastated over something not working out, when I've ended up where I've ended up now, I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, come on, you know? I was thinking today, if I could extend to one person a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, and at the time I thought, oh my God, this is it, my life's over. And I could extend that lesson and be like, take that lesson, right? Don't learn it the hard way. Just take it from me and understand that your reality is, your world is taking care of you. Everything is going to work out for your absolute benefit, you know, and don't make the same mistake that I did of, you know, feeling like whatever it was that I used to feel, you know. God, it's so foreign to me now. I can't even connect with that thought. But it's like, I just wish that I could extend this to people, you know, that it's all going to be okay. And here's the thing, as odd as this sounds, and I know we've diverted a little bit from talking about the space of variations, but the point that I always find comfort in, and this is going to probably sound dark as hell to you, and to the listeners out there, but the point that I always find a lot of comfort in is that none of it really matters at all, right? We're all headed in the same direction. Nobody is getting out of this alive. We're all going to die.
Yeah, it's
right?
a video. It's a video game.
It's a video game, right? Exactly. You're gonna die, and all this energy that you have put out or felt or used to do something, or, you know, all this importance that you've placed on your action and your life and your progress and your thoughts and all this stuff, you're just gonna die. And it's gonna dissipate into the space of variations, and somebody else being born will be born with all that stuff that you once had, and they'll go through the whole thing. So it's like just live it, you know, just live it and have fun and understand that it's a game that's going to end, right? Give it your best. Be outrageous. Go for the gold, as stupid as that sounds. You know, like, who cares if you fail doing it? You're gonna die anyway. Right. You know, at least you gave it a shot, right? And when I go after life, when I go after my reality or the things that I want with that mentality, I get stuff, you know, because I've like dropped importance and I'm outrageous enough to allow myself to have, you know?
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So life's a trip, you know?
It is. It reminds me of something that Emerson said. I've read Self-Reliance probably more than any other like short book or essay. And he talks about some point in that book where he's like, if you don't say the thing, your truth, like your genius, he calls it in the book, if you don't speak it, then you get to endure having to hear somebody else speak your truth to you, and the whole time you knew it. You know, that's just like the sturdiest thing, it's just like, oh, that's so insufferable. So if you don't allow yourself to be outrageous and allow yourself to have now, then you're just going to sit on the sidelines and watch everybody else while they do the thing you knew you could.
Oh God. Can you imagine any more of a tragic way to just burn your life up? When you can just drop importance on yourself, drop importance on life, and just live and be outrageous and say whatever and do whatever and allow yourself to have whatever it is you want and like do crazy stuff and have experiences and, break out of that common belief, right? I mean, honestly, Owen, that's all I feel I've really done. That's all I feel I've really done is I've just managed to break out of common belief,
Yep.
That's all I've really done, because if you look at my life, where I came from, like I was telling you before we started the interview, I grew up in a trailer park on the outskirts of Modesto, California, that like, there's no reason. There is absolutely no reason I should have any of this. I own a beautiful home that I've paid for with my own money. I have amazing life experiences. I have, money in the bank and stuff going on and opportunities. And I am living my absolute best life, my best reality I can possibly live. And I'm not educated. I didn't even graduate high school, right? I went all 4 years of high school. I went 1 year total. If you added up all the time in high school, I completed 1 year of high school. I don't have any education beyond that. I have defied common belief, but the only reason that I've actually done that is because that's what I chose, 1, and 2, I took action. That's it. That's the only thing I've done. It's the only thing I've done. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. I do not possess any set of skills that other people, I'm not a special person, I just have managed to think, I've just decided to view reality in a different way. That's the bottom line. Via transurfing.
That's great. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I was watching George Carlin, a little bit of George Carlin's videos earlier today. He also dropped out of school at like 9th grade or something like that, and wound up becoming one of the most brilliant, not quote unquote educated either, but he just took a different path, and he's like, what, I'm not going to go with the hive mind, the herd mentality. I'm going to go my own way. And so we all have that choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is, you have to look at who you really are as a human being, right? And what your skill set is, right? What you're capable of and what you're not capable of. And I know that sounds a little bit contradictory, right? Because here I am saying, oh, you can do anything. And then I'm saying, you have to realize what you're not capable of. Having not graduated high school, not having any formal education, I knew that I probably wouldn't get a job with NASA. Right? I probably wouldn't become a neurosurgeon, right? That's not in my realm of possibilities. So when we say that the space of variations is an infinite field of possibilities, that's true. But there is a certain number of possibilities that are more closely directed at you, right? Me not graduating from school, me not going to high school, all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of got like entrepreneur written all over it, right?
It really does.
If I was going to succeed, it was going to be via some variation of me being an entrepreneur, because that is a possibility there for me. NASA, neurosurgeon probably wasn't going to happen, right? So whatever it is that you possess, right, that's gonna have, like, you're gonna have certain goals and doors that are, for you, right? And there's nothing wrong with understanding your strengths and your weaknesses in relation to the space of variations, right? Because the idea of transurfing is that you want to connect with what it is that you want in sort of the easiest fashion, right? So what is available to you? Like, what is truly available to you, that's something that you could access pretty easily, right? And I promise you, there's a lot of stuff, because if there was a lot of stuff for me, I had very, 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 a real limited amount to work with when I decided to leave my hometown. I was 17 years old. I had no education. I had no money. I didn't have like a family name or, anybody backing me. I had no safety net. I had nothing like that, right? So if I've managed to come up with what I've come up with, right, and I started where I started, like, I'm sure most people out there probably are working with a little more than what I had.
Yeah.
So you guys out there, like, your possibilities are at least as good as what mine are, right?
Totally.
If not more.
Yeah. No excuses, people. No excuses.
I feel bad because, I've read a lot that, like, this reality creation stuff, or, like, manifestation, even though I hate the word, or all these different lines of thinking, they always say that, it's victim blaming, or whatever they say. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that.
So like, a lot of, I think I even read something online once that said transurfing's really, like, bad because it's like victim blaming. It's convincing a person, to think that, like, if something bad happened to them, it was a product of their thinking.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And remember, there is evidence to support any and all theories. Right. So if you choose to believe that, then you're right.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I even had a guy who reached out to me like a year ago, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I love what you're doing." And, blah, 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 blah. And then he had all these things happen, something happened with his girlfriend, and they had to deal with a bunch of stuff. And then her parents were this and that. And, like, I messaged him because I hadn't heard from him for a while. And he said, "Oh, all this stuff happened, and he thought that well, in some of it he did, I think, but honestly, just through action, not thoughts. But he was, like, taking that approach that more like he was a victim of his own thinking kind of thing. And I want to just be like, but then again, like you said, there's evidence to whatever it supports, like, you do believe, you buy into that. And so, I don't know. It was weird. It was just really weird because I was like, well, dude, I hope like, random shit happens. It's not your fault. Like, you don't have to blame yourself for, like, some, I don't know, like, some weird tragedy strikes and somehow it's your fault. Like, that's stupid. That's absurd. You just, that's just life. Things are going to happen. You have to just navigate through those things and then just continue on with the path, with your journey, keep going in the direction that and be imperturbable. That's another angel word that I'll throw in. But at that point I was like, well, I guess, we're probably not going to, collaborate or anything, because he just kind of, like, fell off the map. Had a little bit of maybe of an induced transition there. But yeah, I can see that. I can totally understand that perspective. But yeah, if you choose to believe that, then I guess it's true for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the golden rule of transurfing, as Vadim puts it, is allow yourself to be you and allow others to be themselves, mm-hmm. Right? So don't waste your energy. If somebody has if somebody has decided to see reality in some fucked up way where they're not going to benefit, they never have and they never will, and reality sucks and transurfing sucks, and you're, like my sister once said to me, she goes, Renee, not everybody gets to just walk around with rose-colored lenses on like you. And I'm like, okay.
It's happened to me a lot too. My whole life, like I've been a raft guide. I've got to work on cruise ships, and film and all this. And people think that I just live in this bubble of reality that is like, and they're like, well, it must be nice. And I'm like, well, it's great. Yeah, actually. Thanks for noticing, it's like.
Exactly. So don't get caught up. My advice to people is like, don't get caught up in somebody else's perception of reality, right? Especially if it's somebody that you have to live with, right? That doesn't like your, your version of reality because they view you as your head in the clouds, or you, aren't seeing things the real way. I mean, if that's the way they choose to see it, you don't need to get involved with that, right? Let them have their reality. That's their choice. And you take yours. I actually was living with a guy in Portland when I first found transurfing, and it very quickly ended our relationship, and I moved out because he could not stand. This was during when Trump started to gain some momentum, before he got elected. And, he was like this foaming at the mouth, progressive liberal that was just, unbearable to be around. And he wanted me to hate, Trump, and he wanted me to go for Bernie. And, I wasn't doing it. Like I wasn't, I didn't have any weight on the matter in any direction. I was reading Transurfing. I was creating my own reality. I was having fun. I was trying to figure out what my next steps were going to be in life, what I wanted to do. I was in the process of reprogramming my mind. I didn't have, a bunch of free time to sit around and entertain bullshit politics, right? Especially, hating somebody. Right? Like I could see myself getting involved in like, if it was adding something positive to my life or helping me, resonate on a certain frequency that I enjoyed. But, he got upset with me because I wasn't hating Trump, and, that was one of those times where I learned exactly, what Vadim spoke of. Allow yourself to be you and allow others to be themselves. If that's what he wanted to do with his time and he needed a partner that was going to sit around and hate Trump with him, then that wasn't me, right? I excused myself from the deal, and I'm very happy that I did. But that sometimes, sometimes you gotta eradicate the pendulum. Sometimes you can live with it. I'm sure, a lot of people, it's probably not as extreme, that whole difference in, perception of reality, but let other people think what they want. You think what you want, it's like, I don't know. I'm so easygoing with it now. I'm just like, you be you and I'll be me.
Yeah. And just a tip to anybody out there who's like got that negative mindset, I would just say, like, cause I have like my cousin, he just always lands on his feet, and there's a lot of people out there. Some people just, I think intuitively just grasp some of these concepts, and it's like, if not that I would ever like try and convince somebody because it's a waste of my time. But if you are one of those people who is like, well, blah, 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 and like very negative and all of that, like look around you and see the people who do just somehow like a cat land on their feet time and time again against all odds. And you just see it, and it's like, how is that even possible? I'm here in the real world, how do they get to, go on cruise ships or, get a new job even after they've, messed up or done this? It's like, it's all in there. It's all in the way it's all in their mentality and the way they view their world.
Yes, absolutely. It's like Vadim says in the book, we all know somebody who we consider lucky, right? It's yeah, I mean, that person that you know that is quote unquote lucky, they're just highlighting another sector of reality where they view themselves as a winner, and their reality agrees with them, right? Your reality is not biased. It is going to agree with whatever worldview you have decided to adopt. Period. Period. It will agree with you. Now, it's not going to agree with you 100% of the time, but if you can systematically learn to look at reality in a specific way, that's what you're gonna get, right? I'm a successful entrepreneur who's had many successes in my life with making money and doing cool things and, building projects, and they work out and really interesting things happen and people go, oh my God, that's so cool. And oh wow, it blew up because of this reason. And it's got, and like all these things. And they're like, how, like, wow, how do you get all this stuff to happen? It's because I'm choosing that possibility. That's all.
Pretty simple.
I'm choosing that. Yeah, it's very, very simple. I'm choosing that possibility, and so there's the and or but. I'm willing to take action on it, right? I'm willing to pick up my phone and start calling people. I'm willing to start emailing people. I'm willing to go knock on somebody's door. I'm willing to go and show up to an office and give a pitch. I'm willing to whatever it is, whatever it is. But you gotta, again, set aside the whole, the common belief is, if you don't have an education, show up to places with ideas, and I promise you, somebody will listen to you and opportunities will present themselves to
I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have an education and no one's ever even asked to see the certificate, nor has it ever, if you're like an engineer or a doctor, it's a different story. But for most of us who have a psychology degree or an English degree or whatever, it's just a bunch of money you got to pay back to to whoever you borrowed your student loans from. So, a pedigree or a piece of paper, it doesn't prove anything. In fact, when I graduated high school, my grandfather looked at me and he goes, hey, just because you got a piece of paper today doesn't make you any smarter.
I mean, oh yeah.
Oh my God, I missed that guy.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's so true. It's so true. But here it is. Common belief is that it does.
Right?
Right.
That's what he was trying to tell you. Like, don't, common belief is that if you have that piece of paper, doors are just going to be opening for you, but they're not, right? The reason that belief is out there, that you need to have, a diploma in order to succeed, is because of massive pendulums. And I know I don't want to get going too much, because we obviously can have more conversations later, and make more, talk more about pendulums and all that, on a deeper level. But, pendulums want you to believe in the system that they've created. And that is where our common beliefs come from. Right? So if you can break those down and start to view your reality as there are no real parameters, right? It's about me making a choice and me taking active steps towards whatever that is that I have decided I intended to have, right? That will break down some of those parameters or some of those, constructs and actually allow you to go after things in a much easier, much more, I don't want to say feasible because, obviously there are positions that you cannot have. Like I said, I'm not going to get a job at NASA.
Yeah, some of us can't sing. It's, you're not going to be a singer, whatever.
comes back around to what I was saying about knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. And just because you go and you get a degree in marketing doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you're good at. You know, like you can find what you're good at. If you want to be into marketing, you don't have to go get a degree to do that.
No, I would argue that you'd be 4 years behind if you went to college to learn marketing. You know what I mean? Because it's just happening so fast on the internet right now.
Oh yeah. So if you want a degree, if you want to go after marketing, you don't need a degree. What you need to do is you need to maybe start representing some brands, figure out what some brands need, get on social media, learn Instagram, learn, what sells, learn how people sell things, learn analytics, learn, whatever it is. Like you can learn all that stuff on your own. You do not need to go to a place to teach you anything. All this information is out there, right? Space of variations. All this information is out there around us. You just got to connect with it. There's more paths than one to anything, right? Don't go on the belief that there's one path to something. There's lots of different roads that can take you there. And transurfing can absolutely help you figure out a road that's intended for you to the thing that you're, intended to have, easily, right? Easily, much more easily than, some of the ways that people are going for stuff these days, so anyway, God, I can talk about
we're like an hour over.
I know. Okay, so this
it's really good though. This is really good.
Yeah, so this whole like we're going to talk about 3 concepts in an hour. I don't feel that anymore.
yeah. Well, this has been an awesome conversation though, and yeah, I guess this is a really good place to kind of just wrap this up. And yeah, the 4 keys I'll go over one more time. Inform yourself of the choices that you have. Learn what's available to you, and then find what you resonate with, what possibilities. Make your choice, and then calmly choose, and then start taking action towards the thing that you chose.
Yeah, pretty easy stuff. I hope that most of I hope that I gave a well-rounded, instruction on this concept. If anybody feels that I left something out, or if they have questions, absolutely respond in the comments or ask in the comments, and either I or Owen will address anything that anybody anything anybody has to say, or any questions that anybody has. Again, the space of variations is a vast concept.
It's literally infinite.
So trying to talk about it in an hour, right? This is just my thoughts and perceptions on it in this moment. But I'm sure, if you guys want to have a conversation about it in the comments, go for it, because this is a great topic to have a conversation on. Because the more options that a person has, right? It's like, just develop it in your way that you understand it and you feel that you can access. That this concept will allow accessibility for you to the things that you intend to have. That's the main thing, and again, breaking down all that stuff of like, common belief is that I can't do this, or that, there's only one way to this thing, or whatever. It's letting that stuff go. Space of variations is a treasure chest. Learn to stick your hands in there and pull out what it is that you intend to have. And that's it, That's
so good. So good. Oh my God. And that is going to do it for this inaugural episode of Transurf and Chill. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you've soaked in some great information. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Share this show. Check out the Reality Transurfing podcast on Spotify, iTunes, literally everywhere pods are cast. And check out Renee's Instagram at reality_transurfing. Be sure to grab your 20-day free email course at www.transurfing.us. There will also be a link in the description box, a lot of links in the description box. And if you care to support the production of this show, you can Patreon me at patreon.com/BootsyGreenwood. Thank you all so very much for listening to this episode. There are many more to come, and we're excited about it. So be sure to share, and happy surfing.